Oh man. Oh man. I need to let people know that we're going live. Oh crap, I need to move this too. Alright. Whew. This is like a super random time to be going live. Oh, I hate when it does that. Hold on. Do it right. Yeah. I don't know why it cuts like that. I really need I need a new animation, man. What's up, Aaron? Hi, twin. What's up, Right? What's up, MJ? See how many people we can get in here. This is like a super random time to be going live. What's up, Miguel? What's good? What's good? VJE, Daniel, Tashia, wait, is it Tashia or Tashia? Tashia, I think. Clayton, Sebastian, Sean, G Money. What's good? What's up? What's good? What's up? How about them Hawks? How about them Hawks? How about them Hawks actually? How about them Hawks even? Dude, is there a... I really need another cord. Oop, I got like a really short cord here. Someone's using the long one, so like this is kind of awkward. It's like I gotta be up close. I guess I can sit back a little bit. It's a little weird. It's a little weird. We'll make it work though. We'll make it work. Is the audio okay? I don't think this shouldn't affect the audio at all. It should just affect the output of what I hear. Yeah, it should just oh gosh. Yeah, it's kind of weird on my part. Like sometimes I can hear it in one ear and then sometimes both ears. It's kind of strange. You guys dodged a bullet with the Hawks. We did. It was going to be a decent draft pick, but now it's literally a lottery one, so that's good. Clan, do you game? Yeah, heck yeah. I've been on Marvel Rivals a lot. Okay, this is bothering me. I'm just going to talk without my headset. I'll only put it on when we got to react to something. Because that's really going to bother me. So yeah. Yeah, I game, man. Yeah, that's what I've been on recently in Marvel Rivals. I need to start watching The Last of Us Part 2 on Max. Because I love that game. Last of Us Part 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. Like, it's top 3 for sure. This won't be our highest lottery pick from the Hawks. I think next year or following year, we will eventually get a top 10 pick from them. Yeah. Hopefully. I mean, they were better than they were supposed to be this year, but we also maybe underestimated how bad the East actually is. Is CP3 done? I haven't heard anything about Chris Paul. Your ears are not hot with the beanie? No? It's not hot in here. East is very trash, indeed. They might blow it up, the Hawks. It's like they keep new GM. Wait, did they just get... When did they get their new GM? I haven't kept up with that. They fired him yesterday? Oh, that is news. Okay, Mika said, all right, hold on. She got to come off. Every single time, I try to just ignore her being here, but then she ended up hitting a button and it jumps to different screens, and she's going to do that in the middle of it. All right, girl. Okay, so he got fired yesterday? That's actually a really big deal, my guy. Oh, you're right. Oh, they print. Oh, wait. Onsi, who did he used to be with? Who did he used to be with? Man, speaking of GMs, I wanted to react to that Nico press conference, bro. I saw some clips. I wanted to watch the whole thing with you guys because that's crazy. Okay, this is actually really big news. All right. All right. Guys, can someone tell me the difference between president of basketball operations and a GM? Because, like, in a lot of ways, I don't really know the difference. Should we go to ChatGPT? This is good use of AI, by the way. Nico is getting torched. Bro, I cannot wait to, look at that. Difference between GM and president of basketball operations NBA. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, this is a really big deal. Sohan? What? President is GM's boss. Did the feed drop? I don't think so. It's still going strong on my part. All right. Okay, guys, this is actually really big deal. Big Neils. Good gosh. Good God, I cannot speak. Okay, this actually is really big news. Okay, so shout out to G Money in the chat for letting me know this first. I don't know if someone said it before, but he was the main one that said it. So as you guys know, the San Antonio Spurs are going to be getting two lottery picks, that is. So actually, let me bring that up. NBA draft lottery odds. Here we go. So as you can see here, they got the San Antonio Spurs taking 8th, which that's most likely what we're probably going to get. And then the Atlanta Hawks, 1, which more than likely be 14th, but it is a lottery pick. So there's a % chance that it can be a top 4, but more than likely it's going to be 14th, right? What we really needed to happen was for the Dallas Mavericks to win that game against Memphis. I believe they were playing. They didn't win it, so yeah, it's no longer a coin flip, and we don't get a higher pick. But the Atlanta Hawks not making the playoffs is huge, and any spots that you can move up towards that lottery is a W for us, right? Now, as you guys know, we have quite a few draft picks coming up, right? So if you look at the San Antonio Spurs draft picks incoming on Fanspo, you can see that after 2025, we have an Atlanta swap possibility. So we could swap with Atlanta, and it says here San Antonio will receive the more favorable of its 2026 first round pick. Now, I'm going to tell you this right off the bat. Maybe this is too much faith in my Spurs. I expect us to be in the playoffs next year, okay? I fully expect us to be in the playoffs. And I thought initially, before G Money said anything, I thought that Atlanta and the San Antonio Spurs were going to be one and the same, right? Like maybe we move up just a few spots or whatnot. I thought maybe Atlanta squeezed their way into the playoffs because they have just been so consistent with being mediocre and being so content. That's what I meant to say. Content with being mediocre. And in the East, unfortunately, mediocrity can get you in the playoffs, right? You can't do that when you're the Spurs in the West. But I did expect the Spurs to be pretty doggone good, and I thought that Atlanta would be mediocre, make it to the playoffs, yada, yada, yada. And our picks are not that different, right? But the Atlanta Hawks are going in a different direction. They fired Landry Fields. They, hope I say this right, Onsi Soleil. They promoted him to GM. And it says here, Atlanta Hawks initiate search for president of basketball operations, and Soleil promoted to general manager. So we have here the owner saying this: every offseason we evaluate how we operate and ways we can improve our organization. As we enter this pivotal offseason, we have several complex decisions ahead of us, and we are committed to providing the human and financial resources needed to ensure that we navigate these decisions with a high level of precision and foresight. Adding an accomplished senior level leader to provide strategic direction, yada, 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 yada. All that is great. There's enough jargon. He always also has here, I would genuinely like to thank Landry for all he's done, and thank you, get out of my office. So with that being said, it is highly likely that because Soleil here will be the new GM, that he actually go in the direction that the team probably should go in, right? And that direction is blow it up. I mean, at this point, just blow it up, right? They have a lot of faith in their first overall pick. They, obviously got quite a few young guys. Just blow it up. Just blow it up. Move Trae Young. Get as much as you can out of him because you're gonna get plenty. So why not just do it, right? I don't think that at this point the Atlanta Hawks are going to continue to just go down this road of mediocrity. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, they're like, well, they don't really own their pick in 2026, which is absolutely true, but you have to go in some direction, right? Maybe you can trade Trae Young and you get a first round pick for 2026, right? And obviously your future isn't in your hands, but it's in someone else's hands. But maybe you could do that. Maybe you can get some for the future as well, right? Because the Spurs got their 2027 as well. So I think it's going to be a win for us, but also a win for Atlanta if they do just go ahead and just blow it up, right? Your last GM made some crucial mistakes. I mean, I know that big part of it was due to the front office and the ownership, like actually wanting to make that deal happen with DeJounte Murray. But at the very least, this says that they're sitting back and they're like, okay, we made some mistakes. Maybe you can see him as a scapegoat, Landry Fields, but it is an indication that we're ready to go in a different direction. And as far as looking for a president basketball operation, because honestly, it's kind of hard to find these terms, like the difference between GM and PBO. But I looked it up, ChatGPT, just real quick. So if you guys are interested in that. So as far as what they're looking for now is a president of basketball operations. They're basically the top decision maker. They're the, as someone in the chat said, they're the boss of the GM. They oversee the GM. They got the big picture vision, right? So focuses more on long-term strategy, culture, and philosophy of the basketball organization. Involvement in ownership level discussions, often works closely with ownership on franchise direction, finances, and major decisions. This is actually much better than if you just Googled it, to be honest. And then GM, day-to-day operating. We all know what a GM does, but manages player contracts, salary cap, scouting, trades, draft strategy, implements vision, executes the vision set by the president and ownership, right? Staff oversight, oversees scouts, analytics departments, and sometimes coaching decisions. Negotiator in chief, and this is why Brian Wright is the man, often the one making calls to agents, negotiating trades, and working the phones during the draft and draft deadline. So they are about to do a complete rehaul. And this can only be a W for us, right? And another thing to bring up too, maybe this doesn't happen if they make the playoffs, right? Maybe this doesn't happen if they make the playoffs, but thankfully, because they were trash and they lost in the play-in, this is happening. So our future picks could look really nice. And what's even more beautiful about all of this is, like I said before, guys, in the future, this is how much faith I got in this team. I expect playoffs 2026, so I expect to get Atlanta's. In 2027, I expect the Spurs to be making somewhat of a run, like a true run, a real run, and we'll still have Atlanta's. And if they do blow it all up, they're not going to be great initially, unless they trade Trae Young for superstars right off the bat. But that's more than likely not going to happen, right? They should be smarter than that and saying, hey, let's think long term. So going to be a whole rehaul of Atlanta. So hopefully they go in that direction and things are looking pretty good for us, right? But yeah, Spurs are going to trade those picks, Chief. Which picks? The Atlanta picks? Wait, why would we trade the Atlanta picks? Am I missing something? Why would we do that? I don't see a reason in doing that. For LeBron? Ah, okay. We're joking. We're trolling. You are dreaming the Hawks are going to blow it up. If Jalen hadn't gotten hurt, they would have been in the playoffs with Zach's growth. So what direction would they be going in? They can. Here's the thing. Here's the funny thing about it, right? If they do just go with what they got and just be mediocre, it's still a win for us. But I could very much so see this as because what they really need to do is just blow it up. They should have. Atlanta Hawks fans in general and specifically have been talking about this for years. They've been like, we just need to blow this thing up. They just need to blow it up. Anyways, that's all I have to say. So I am excited to see what direction they decide to go in. Obviously, Atlanta is one of those teams that we're going to be paying close attention to because it directly affects the Spurs and our future. But we're still doing great things. We'll be fine. I think we'll be better than Atlanta. But with that being said, I'm expecting them to just blow the thing up. Why not? Trade Trae Young. You can get he's very valuable. You can probably get quite a few first round picks for him. And yeah, it's maybe not in your hands. You can't just necessarily just fully tank. There's no point to, but at the same time, you know that, hey, we got a spot in these upcoming drafts, right? Like that's the best way you can go about this. Cause it's not really making a lot of sense. Let's see. Hawks will more than likely blow it up for a haul of picks on Trae, or they'll be mediocre for life. Exactly. So you can either blow it up and it's great for us and it'll be good for your future, or you can remain mediocre, which is terrible for your future and good for us. Not as great, but good for us, So good stuff. Good news. Big news. Thank you, Atlanta, for everything. Thank you for everything. Thank you for everything. Everything. So guys, recap. Like I said, just quick recap. I just saw like a haul of people just come into the chat. I don't know what just happened. Okay. Recap for the people who just joined the chat. Okay. Just recap. The Atlanta Hawks fired their GM, Landry Fields, and they have promoted Ansi Saleh. And they are also looking for a president of basketball operations as we speak to see who is it that's going to run the show. And with that being said, that is a big deal because the Atlanta Hawks could very well decide to just go ahead and blow it up. And if you don't know, we own their 2026. We swap with them for 2026 if they have a better pick than ours, which they probably will. And then 2027, we have their pick in 2027. So if they just blow it up, they could trade Trae Young, get multiple first-round picks, hopefully. And then for 2026 and 2027, there's not a lot of pressure on them when it pertains to, losing or tanking or whatnot. They probably wouldn't be any point in tanking. But they won't be good, right? They'll probably try to win, but they won't be that good. But anyways, so if they blow it up, that's it. If Trae Young is gone and what you're getting back is draft picks, maybe some young talent, that's a wrap. That's a wrap. The San Antonio Spurs, whether Atlanta Hawks want to or not, they're going to lose in the next couple of seasons. They're going to lose. Trae is the one that keeps them above water. So that's going to help a lot for those future picks. So Like I said, if they remain mediocre, still good for us, right? We still get some picks. But if they blow it up, great for us. So we'll see. We shall see. When new GM comes to office, usually clean house. Yeah, that is true. That is very much so true. All right, so guys, I want to take a look at this. Let's see if we can watch this. This coward. Oh, is it directly 26 minutes? Ooh, that's long, guys. That's long. 26 minutes? Guys, this man talks for 26 minutes? All right, so I usually don't talk about the Dallas Mavericks that often, right? I'm one, as a Spurs fan, I probably should hate the Mavericks, I guess. I don't know. I don't feel like a lot of us care. But I will say that. I mean, I will say this. I respect them. I mean, up to this decision. I usually respect the Dallas Mavericks, right? I respect them as our competitors. I don't hate them the same way I hate Houston. It's just something about Houston where their fans are just so snarky, bro. And their players really irritate me. It's a lot about them I don't like. Obviously, at some point, I didn't like the Warriors. Lakers back in the day when we had our rivalry. I never really hated the Lakers like other Spurs fans. I respected them. I was kind of scared of Kobe, to be frank. But at the same time, I respected them, right? So everything was good there. So the Dallas Mavericks is a team that I don't necessarily want to just like go up in flames. But with them being in our division, it's totally fine for us to sit back and laugh a little bit. Now that Luka seems comfortable, a little bit more comfortable in his role, hopefully he can make it past first round. I don't know. But, you know, Luka seems happier than he was when he first left. I felt really bad for him initially. But, yeah, it is what it is, right? Nico Harrison. This dude is an absolute coward. I'm not going to lie to you guys. He is an absolute coward. Some people are saying he's just being a scapegoat. But if you look at his history, he has a history of being a little bit of a buffoon, right? Like, you can go back to him completely botching the Nike situation. Have you guys heard about that? Hold on, I'll show you. It was with Steph Curry when he was trying to recruit Steph Curry, and he completely messed it up. Let's see. Is this it? This isn't it. Okay, well, I'll just tell you. So what ended up happening, and Nico didn't really have an answer for this, is basically when they did the whole presentation for Steph Curry, I believe they ended up having Kevin Durant in the presentation, in the PowerPoint, which I don't know why you're showing other players when you do that. And then also he said that they could have ended up accidentally calling Steph Curry Seth Curry, his brother. So they just completely messed it up. Yeah, exactly, Frosty. That's why Steph ended up going with Under Armour. So Nico Harrison has been kind of a silly goose for a very long time now. So a lot of people that are bringing up like, oh, you know, he's just a scapegoat and it's just the master manipulators in play. Nah, I don't know. He could very well just be a buffoon. So let's go ahead and take a look at what he has to say, because Lord knows he did not want anything recorded the last time he was doing a press conference. He told them no recordings. He said no video, nothing. All right. But this time we got video and recordings.
Good afternoon, and thanks everybody for coming here as we try to close out this year and then obviously get ready for...
This is so long. Should I just fast forward just a little bit? This is super long.
Next year. Before I start, I'd really like to give a heartfelt thank you to the Dallas Mavericks staff. During the year, it's countless hours on the road. It's tons of time away from your family, and their commitment to our team has been amazing throughout the whole year. And then...
Let me know if you can hear that, chat.
Kid and his staff. The job they did this year was elite. You know, they went the last 2.5 months without having any practices, but they still got our team in position to win. And a lot of times, not only did they not have practices, they also didn't know who was going to play because of the revolving door.
Why do you look like he's on coke? He looks very nervous. That's what he looks like, which I don't blame him.
And so I'd just like to thank them. And then lastly, the players. They really, they never say die attitude. They embody that. Next man up, kind of all the cliches. Like, they literally lived that this year. And they ended up playing inspiring basketball. And it really showed their character was on full display.
Okay, come on.
Injuries depleted this year, depleted our roster, from the start of training camp. But the players and staff never wavered, and it really gives us optimism for next year. Defense.
Is this normal? Looks like he's afraid to speak in the mic. What I mean is this normal to have notes like this? I don't know. I actually don't know. I'm not trying to make fun of him. I just think about our GM, Brian Wright, and I don't recall Brian Wright having notes at all.
Wins championships, and we are hanging our hat on defense. We're going to return one of the best front lines.
He's reading off of something. Is this normal? He probably wanted a teleprompter. Well, why? Everything that he's saying you can say without notes. He coming extra prepared.
In the NBA, and we have one of the deepest and the most versatile benches. The draft this year is extremely deep, and we're excited to play the role that we are. We'll see where we go after the draft lottery, but we know we're going to get a really good player. And then we'll also use free agency to kind of shore up the rest of the roster. With the support.
They got rid of Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis. I do not care, guys. I do not care about anything. You got rid of Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis. There is no world where that's a good deal. I just want to put that out there, okay? There is no world in which that's a good deal. He just went to the finals. No world, guys. No world whatsoever.
Support of the fans, we are committed to coming back next year stronger than ever. Every decision we make this year will be through the lens of competing to win, and our goal is to bring a championship back.
Short term. It's such a loser mentality. This is why I love my Spurs, is because it's long term. Every decision that we're making is for the long term. We want to dominate for years. The Spurs aren't just going to, let's just trade this player and try to bring in as much older talent as possible and win this thing. Like, no. It's such short term gratification, bro. I hate it.
To Dallas. And with that, I'll open up for questions.
Okay, that's all he had to say.
Hey,
Okay.
Nico. In the few days since your roundtable
short-sighted,
discussion
bro.
with some reporters, and since the
They
end of
just
the
want instant gratification.
season, some players have acknowledged, the challenge of playing through the post-trade noise, and in hindsight, they and Jason were the ones who primarily had to answer the questions about that over the last couple of months. Do you feel like the franchise and you specifically could have or should have done more to maybe mitigate that?
Ooh, they're coming in. Ooh.
Or deflect that away from them?
No, good question. Yeah, we could have been better. As I look back on it in hindsight, we could have been better. Our goal is never to run away from the media. That's part of the job, and that's the obligation. But
Mavericks GM Harrison defends Doncic's trade, driving the news. The news conference comes less than a week after a closed-doors roundtable with reporters and Harrison. No cameras or recordings were allowed, which didn't play well for Harrison among fans and on social media. But yeah, you weren't running from fans. Okay. Or media. Okay.
also, we wanted to talk after we had our roster. Our plan was to put Kyrie, Clay, AD, PJ, Lively on the floor so that people could see the.
Kyrie, Clay, and AD. Kyrie, Clay, and AD. I'm gonna become not Atlanta. I'm gonna become a Dallas Mavericks fan just for this video, bro. Just so I can, cause this is making me angry. I'm becoming a fan of theirs. Like I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan, Is he serious?
Vision. And unfortunately, that actually never came. So there
In 2025, Sebastian. In 2025, bro.
never a good time for us to do that.
And
What?
Nico, Christian Clark with The Athletic, in the weeks leading up to the trade, how much discussion internally was about just, trading Luka for another player who, up to that point, had missed a lot more time in his career effectively, like trading a guy for a player who, I guess, was more injury prone. How much did you guys discuss that or think about that?
Yeah.
Okay, this is actually blowing my mind that all of these questions are great, but it blows my mind even more that they were never addressed. That it's insane that this was actually never addressed by the GM. That they have to ask it here.
Yeah, I mean, when you trade a guy of Luka's caliber, you're not taking it lightly. So we discussed everything, but we really feel the defense is our calling card and what we're going to hang our hat on. And when we had an opportunity to get one of the best two-way players in the league, we jumped at that opportunity.
We're here.
They went to the finals. Defense wins championships. You think Anthony Davis would have got you to the finals with that roster? What are we?
Isaac from Locked On Mavs. When
Oh, sorry.
no, my bad. When Luka comes back to town, the Lakers game's happening, and you're standing there, and there's thousands of people chanting for you to be fired. That's an experience that none of us, no one's chanting for for us to lose our jobs. Why shouldn't you be fired?
Ain't no way, bro. Bro, ain't no way, bro. This is the type of question. Let me tell you guys something, okay? This is the type of question where there's no way to answer it. You just look, if you answer why you shouldn't be fired, bro, you know how bad, like, already look at his mannerisms, how he's gripping his pen, how you guys mentioned he doesn't even want to talk into the mic. I mean, this is just gonna be bad, bro. Next question. Yeah, this is a next question type of, why shouldn't you be fired? I don't think I have to justify that. Can we go to the next question? I mean, that's the only way you can go about it, bro. There's no way of answering this to look good. It's also funny how he softened the blow, right? That was a really nice soft startup. Like, no, we're not treated that way, man. You really are victimized. But that thing that they've been saying about you, what you think it's true? Like, you think you should be fired? Oh my gosh. All right. I just like how you just straight up asked him.
For us to lose our jobs.
Look,
That's an experience.
He took his guard off too. He was like, "Oh yes. Isn't that ridiculous what they say about me?"
None of us, no one's chanting for
Look at that.
our, for us to lose our jobs. Why shouldn't you be fired?
Well, one, I think I've done a really good job here, and I don't think I can be judged by the injuries this year. You have to judge from totality.
He's
from beginning,
answering it.
to end, and so I think I have a really good working relationship with Patrick.
He's been horrible. He's been a horrible GM. What is he talking about?
I think you add in Rick. The leadership that we have is really elite, and you'll see next year when our team comes back, we're going to be competing for a championship.
Yeah, Nico.
You were just competing for a championship. I think this guy's like, I think he just has like a crazy ego, bro. You were just competing for a championship. What do you mean? Oh, you'll see. We're going to compete for a championship. That's like the 2013 Spurs. Like, after we lost in the finals, we got rid of Danny Green, Kawhi. Like let's just say we got rid of all our big hitters, right? Kawhi, Tim Duncan, Manu, because Luka is all of that for them. Okay, we just got rid of our big four. Just screw it. We just got rid of our big four and Danny Green, and we put another team together. And then and then Buford came out and he was like, guys, we'll see. I know you guys hate it right now. I know that you hate that we got rid of Tim Duncan, but trust me, we're going to compete with this roster. This new roster I constructed. I'm a genius. You just don't know it yet. Are you joking? Are you kidding? You just went to the finals. Maybe he was jealous of Luka. Bro, it's something weird going on. I think he just has an ego.
Nico, you say repeatedly the defense wins championships.
Get
Are
on
you
him on
saying
that.
it was impossible to build a roster that included Luka Doncic that was strong enough
Yes. Good question.
defensively to win a championship?
No, I think it's really doubling down on defense. And, you know, like I said, when we had the opportunity.
What?
No, I think it's really doubling down on defense. And, you know, like I said, when we had the opportunity to get Anthony
What?
Davis, who is one of the best two-way players in the league, we jumped at that opportunity.
It was a matter of doubling down on defense. This is stupid. Like, this is genuine. This is Twilight Zone. Like, this is stupid, bro. Clan ego and the fact management did not want to pay Luka's Supermax deal. You know what's funny about that, Frosty? Who would you give a Supermax deal to if not Luka? Like, seriously, that's my question. It's like, do you just not give out Supermax deals? Is that how this works? You just don't give them out? You need a raw. See, this isn't a franchise that wants to win, right? So, like, what you really want to do is have one that's just competitive enough to keep the fans happy while not paying a max deal. That's just stupid to me. Like, who else gets a Supermax deal if not Luka? If Luka doesn't get one, no one in the NBA deserves a Supermax deal. It's so stupid.
Points. Going off that question, you've made it very clear defense wins championships, and that's a very respectable mentality, a little basketball saying. Well, looking at Luka Doncic, he did get this team to the NBA Finals last year.
Oh, goodness.
When you look at Luka Doncic, do you consider him a championship level player?
Dude, how do you answer this? You just got to the finals. Do you think he's a championship caliber player? Just say no, bro. If you say yes, or you insinuate that he is in any form or fashion, you look even worse. You might as well just, like, put your chin up, chest out, say it with your whole chest, man. Say no, he's not. Loaded questions.
You know,
I think that's like, you think that's a loaded question?
that's kind of an unfair question. Luka's no longer on this team. But what I am excited about is I do believe we have a chance.
That's an unfair question. Luka isn't on this team. So we just can't ask you about how you view Luka, the person you got rid of, for no picks and just a player? Like, literally 1-to-1, you got rid of this player for this player? And we can't ask you how you felt about Luka because he's no longer on this roster. So you just shouldn't be asked questions about Luka. What a slimy way to answer that question. Just say no.
Do you consider him a championship level player?
You know, that's kind of an unfair question. Luka's no longer on this team. But what I am excited
Ain't no
about
way.
is I do believe we have a championship caliber team. And we'll show that next year.
We'll show that next year. If AD's healthy, he can't just miraculously be healthy all of a sudden. Like, even as much as I believe in the San Antonio Spurs medical staff, I don't think that we will be able to just make him magically be able to play important games. He gets hurt so it's ridiculous. He got hurt the first game. He got hurt the first game he got to Dallas, bro. The first game.
Mike Curtis, Dallas Morning News. Piggybacking off that a little bit.
Unfair,
you mentioned
yeah.
Last week that Dirk is no longer around the franchise. Obviously, Luka isn't a part of the franchise anymore, and they're two figures that mean a lot to this organization and the fan base. Obviously, it's severed right now, just with everything that's happened. Like, I guess, how do you repair the relationship with the fan base going forward?
Well,
Win. That's literally it. Kind of. I don't know. I feel like even if I'm just thinking of, I'm trying to think of it in my perspective, right? Like how Luka was loved was the same amount of love that we have for Manu, right? Like same amount of love we have for Emmanuel Ginobili. If the Spurs would have disrespected Manu and just got rid of him, like now as far as what he meant to the team, he's more of like a Duncan, right? But I just meant like how much we love him. I think that fans love Manu Ginobili more than they even love Tim Duncan. And I think that that amount of love that we have for Manu is the same amount that Dallas Mavericks fans had for Luka, right? So he was their Duncan and they loved him like we love Manu. And with that being said, if the Spurs were to get rid of Manu, and even if we got a ring out of it, I feel like we all would feel a little sick about it, right? Like we would never give our GM full credit for that, right? Like, yeah, we'll celebrate, we won a championship, but we'll still be thinking about the future. Like, dang, that was a really great player we had on our roster. And when we struggle, we're going to always go back to we shouldn't have traded, even if, because we would have been like, hey, we would have won a championship with them, you know? Yeah, that's wild. This is absolutely wild. You'll never regain that trust, even if you win a championship. I promise.
And like, I guess, how do you repair?
But the only thing you can say is just we got to win. That's
forward?
it. We got to perform.
Well, one, you mentioned Dirk, and so it's important to say like he's the single most important figure to the franchise. So that's extremely important. I believe winning will help repair.
Yeah, that's all you can say.
And that's what we plan to do next year.
There you go. That's
like
all
said,
you
winning
really
will repair it. But have you ever thought about what if it doesn't?
Okay, that's great. Did you ever think what if that doesn't work? what do you answer? I don't know, bro. I'll just die. I don't know, man. If it doesn't work, I don't know. I don't know. I'll just move. I don't know, man. Oh my God. They're torching him. We have 20 minutes left?
I know you said winning will repair it, but have you ever thought about what if it doesn't?
Oh my God.
I'm an optimistic person, and I move by faith, not by fear.
Oh, you're so cool. That was such a he really thought that was a banger right there. I move by faith, not fear. Okay, bro. You're so strong and inspirational. Man, GOAT right here. Nico the GOAT.
Nico, Joe Trahan from WFAA. You said earlier you don't like to run from the media, but Nico, I am interested in your reasoning by having that roundtable discussion without any cameras or audio equipment, and then less than a week later having this meeting.
Dude, they are tortured. Are they allowed to do this? Did all the journalists just... I think that they're irritated because of that, right? I think they've been irritated by him. If all of the journalists do this, they can't all lose their jobs, right? Like, they're all... This is crazy. Yo.
That we're in right now.
7 minutes in.
Behind doing it week later having this meeting that we're in right now. What's your thought process behind doing it that way if you say you don't want to run from the media?
Yeah, no, it was a good question. It was a collective thought process. It was meant to be more of like a roundtable discussion. Clearly, it didn't have the goal that we intended on doing it, so that's why we're coming back here today. The goal was that I answered all the questions today. I could talk about the team as it currently is and then what we do going forward. But because it fell flat today, that I'm answering the same questions I answered last week because we didn't do a good enough job. The other part.
Oh my God, dude, do you understand? I don't think this is like so messed up. I don't know if they actually understand the severity of that move, right? Like, I don't know if they see how severe that was to get rid of Luka Doncic, how ridiculous that was. It came out of left field. The NBA teams didn't even know what was going on. NBA players usually are the ones that's blindsided. NBA teams, front offices were like, Luka was available? I heard from the grapevine that they also called the Spurs. That's what I heard, right? I heard that they called the Spurs. So, like, that was kind of it. Like, no one really knew. It was just like a couple teams because they were looking for their defensive center or whatnot. But like, why would you do it this way? It's just so cowardly, right? Like, it's so cowardly. If they were looking to trade him and we knew about this for a while, then that's one thing. But coming off of a finals appearance and how good, I'm getting upset. Luka is so good, y'all. Like, he's so good. He's so good. You want a Wemby for Luka? Yeah. But like, even that, right? Even though, you know, obviously I wouldn't do that. I think that that's fair. I think that that's at least that's way more fair than AD for Luka. Are you kidding me? That doesn't seem like possible. I don't even think you're able to do that on 2K. If you wanted to make that trade on 2K, I don't think you make it. I don't think you get AD. Or you get Luka for AD.
We really wanted to show is the face of the leadership of the Mavericks going forward, which is Rick and I. And so those were the two goals.
It's part of the reason you're doing this today because you felt the fan base needed more and there wasn't an adequate response to why you made the deal. Is that?
Yeah. Well, you said that, right? If he goes around this question, I hate him more than I did before.
That's why we're sitting here today.
You just said
no. It was we do this every year. We do.
You just said you didn't go about it in an adequate way, and now you okay.
It's no different than what we've done in previous years.
Okay.
But because we haven't adequately answered the questions, we figured we would open it up as well right now.
And Nico, will Anthony Davis need surgery this summer?
No, he won't. He finished the season fine.
Oh, he's nervous, bro. You guys notice how he went for his coffee and then he didn't? Like, what? You could have still took your sip.
Nico, will Anthony Davis need surgery this summer?
He's like, oh. He is so nervous.
He finished the season fine. He feels good about where he's at, and he'll continue to build and get healthy.
Will Derek Lively need surgery this summer?
I don't believe he will either.
And, you know, you said defense win championships. We saw the Nuggets 2 years ago. I mean, they finished 15th in defense the regular season as kind of the one of the 30 guys.
That's another thing, guys. That's another thing. It's a myth. The defense wins championship thing is an absolute myth. Like, yes, you have to have defense is super important. Don't get me wrong. Like, defense obviously is important. But, like, offense is what's super important, right? Like, defense is important, but offense is a tier higher than that. It just is what it is, right? Like I said, defense is important, but talent, how good you are on that offensive end really does count. Defense is dead this era. I don't know, man. It's just a phrase that competent GMs just wouldn't just flat out say. Like, I think with our Spurs, for instance, I think that it's good that we're leaning into that identity. Like, you recognize, it kind of started with Sohan. You recognize, okay, we got a really good defender here. You bring in Wemby. You bring in Steph Castle. It's okay. You have a really nice defensive foundation, right? But at the end of the day, offense is what's really going to count, what's really going to make it good. The defense is important, but you don't have to be the number one team defensively every year to win a championship. And if your goal is just to win one, because it seems like that's their goal, just win one championship, that's all they're thinking about. They're not thinking about the long term of any of these decisions. Then why would you key in on, oh, we just need to be the best defensive team? And what are you talking about? And even with AD being healthy, you're still not going to be the top defensive team in the NBA. Both are important, Clan. No, both are important, but I think offense is a tier higher than defense. I truly do think that. I wonder where he mentioned the Nuggets. I wonder where the Nuggets were ranked offense. Chat, when did the Nuggets win their championship? Look it up real quick.
Who runs an NBA team?
I don't believe he will either.
And, you know, you said defense win championships. We saw the Nuggets 2 years ago. I mean, they finished 15th in defense the regular season. As kind of the one of the 30 guys who runs an NBA team. What's just your analysis of how, I guess, that Nuggets team won the championship?
I don't want to dismiss your question, but I'm not concerned about the Nuggets. I feel like we have a championship caliber team when we're whole, and we're going to hang our hat on defense. We're going to be one of the best defensive teams in the league, and I think that's going to be our calling card.
Nico, right here. Mac Angle, Fort Worth Star Telegram. When you were
Are you joking? Oh, I'm not concerned with the Nuggets. I'm concerned with my team. Bro, the question is, the whole point of the question, the whole point of the argument was, hey, you said that this is important, but this team had just won a championship and they were 15th defensively. So like, how do you rectify that? You can't just to like say it doesn't matter. See, that's the thing that bothers me, because by him insinuating that, well, he's not insinuating, he's just saying it, that defense wins championships. He's basically saying that all these other teams that won championships, they had phenomenal defenses. That's what he's saying. I'm basing it off of other teams that win defense. You're not just making that up in your head, right? Or maybe he is. But by you saying that, that's what you're saying. And he's like, he's combating the argument. He's saying, well, actually, that's not true. So how do you, what do you think about that? Oh, that's not my team. What? What are you talking about? What you talking about, man? By the way, here we go. 2022-23 NBA season, the Denver Nuggets boasted an offensive rating of 116.8, ranking them 5th in the league. So there you go. Offense is more important than defense. It's like, a little smaller tier higher. Yeah, exactly. Defense wins championships, but you still got to score. Yeah, defense is important, but you got to score a lot.
Picking the idea of this trade around, and you had various scenarios planned in your head. Did the anger and outrage from the fan base, has that exceeded what you were kind of planning for?
Are you joking? Dude, I swear to God, if he says he wasn't prepared for this outrage, I'm losing it.
Yeah, good question. I did know that Luka was important to the fan base. I didn't quite know it to what level. But
this is the clip I saw. I did see this clip. My God, bro. Yeah, Gold. I know, bro. I'm gonna let the chat react. I know, bro. I know, dog. Listen to him again. Yeah, I knew he was important. I didn't know he was that important. Wow. So out of touch, man.
For
insane.
Yeah, good question. I did know that Luka was important to the fan base. I didn't quite know it to what level.
But what level?
The way we looked at it is,
I didn't know what level.
If you're putting a team on the floor that's Kyrie, Clay, PJ, Anthony Davis, and Lively.
Kyrie, Clay, and AD is stupid. That is a stupid thing to say. That's a stupid thing to allow come out of your mouth. That's very stupid. You guys know the criticism. This is the funny thing. Well, maybe it wasn't, it wasn't really Clay's criticism because we already knew. But like the criticism between Kyrie and AD was there forever. What was? I'll let the chat, because chats are better GMs than Nico. Guys, what was the criticism of both Kyrie and AD? They both have the exact criticism over the years. What was it? Do you know? Old? Well, no, not old. Can't stay healthy. That's one, but it was something else. It was something else I'm looking for. Both love anime? They do? That's pretty cool. I'm glad they do. Anime's great. Ball dominant players? That's something, but that's not what I'm looking for. It pertains to them winning a championship. What's the criticism? Unibrows? Okay, I'll give you guys a second. We'll get back to it.
We feel that's a championship caliber team, and we would have been winning at a high level, and that would have quieted some of the outrage.
Wait, he believed they were going to win a championship this year? Oh, he's crazy, bro. Second options? There it is. Peter just hit the nail on the top. Yes, that's it. Second options. That's the criticism. This entire time, that's been the criticism of Kyrie and AD, that at the very best, they are second options. They aren't alpha dogs. They're not guys that can, lead a team to a championship. They always had to be under somebody. Like Kyrie was under LeBron, right? AD's under LeBron. Kind of funny that, both of them were under LeBron, but two Robins. Yeah, and that's fine. But you just got rid of a Batman for Robin. And Clay. Yeah, Clay, but I don't really feel like Clay got that criticism because we all knew, he's second to Curry. Like, we know he's a second option. But, yeah, I mean, you just got 3 second options that aren't as good as they used to be together and think that you're going to win a championship. Can they stay healthy, number one? Number two, can they even lead a team to a championship?
Fortunately, we weren't able
That's
to
so
do that.
stupid.
So it just continued to, go on and on.
There have been a million theories about why you did the deal. One of them was that you were told to do it. That Mr. Dumont said, I didn't want to give the Supermax contract, which is obviously very expensive, to Luka. Were you told
Dang.
that you had to trade him?
No, not at all. Patrick
Dang. Just straight up.
reminds me of the leadership that I had at Nike, and a really good leader
The
doesn't tell
leadership you
the people
had
who
at
work for
Nike, bro. We already talked about the Nike situation.
and what to do. It's a collective, well thought out process to make a big move like that. And then also, unfortunately, I'm
You need to talk to your coach too when you make a move like that. Jason Kidd didn't even know.
super stubborn, so someone telling me to do something doesn't
Whoa.
a big move like that.
You
And
listen.
then also,
Listen.
unfortunately, I'm super stubborn, so someone telling me to do something doesn't work too well for me.
This has to be the most insane press conference I've ever seen in my life. Wow. Guys, I'm going to be real with you, okay? Some of our brethren over here at San Antonio, our San Antonio Spurs fans, that is, there's some whiny babies, okay? Because you think you have it bad. Oh, we got a couple seasons of being mediocre. Oh, we're going through a rebuild. Oh, no. We won 12 more games than we did last season. I think it's 12. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my. Oh, everything's so hard being me, a Spurs fan. Let me tell you something, okay? Our GM, you can talk trash about Brian Wright. You shouldn't. I don't know why you would. It's none of this. We never had to deal with this. This is crazy, bro. You are in no man's land. You are going to be miserable as a Mavs fan for a while. That's crazy. I'm stubborn. I do what I want. That is crazy. Never in a million years. That is not a healthy front office for your GM to say, I'm too stubborn. I'm going to do what I want. No one can tell me anything. Insane. Dude's a dictator, man.
Nico over here. Speaking of Patrick, has this impacted your relationship with him at all since making the deal? Has this frayed your relationship working with him?
Yeah, it actually strengthened it because we talk a lot more, and we're kind of linked together to this, and so it's made us have to have a lot more conversations. So I believe that we have a really good working relationship. He's came out publicly and supported me, and so I don't take that lightly. And so now
Who are we talking about? I missed something.
more.
Working with. Has this impacted your relationship with him at all since making the deal? Has this frayed your relationship?
Who are we talking about? The owner? Who we talking about, guys?
Working with.
And we're that we have a really good working.
We have to communicate more because I made a dumb decision, and that helped our that really helped our communication. What are we talking about? What? That helped our communication, and now we're even closer because I made such a stupid deal. What are we going on about?
relationship. He's came out publicly and supported me, and so I don't take that lightly. And so now I have to deliver on that.
What about you and Jason Kidd? You guys have been close for such a long time. How involved was he in this deal at the time, and how has this impacted your relationship with him as well?
Yeah,
Jason Kidd looked pissed off.
Jason, I've answered this a few times. Jason, I brought him in on the 11th hour, and the reason for that is because constantly during trade deadline, you're having tons of conversations. Most of the stuff never sees the light of day, and so Jason's obligation is to coach the team that he has right there. The last thing I can do is get him distracted by what could be, what may be.
What? Guys, my brain hurts. Guys, my brain hurts. You didn't tell your head coach because you didn't want to distract him, and you don't want to hurt his little fragile brain. You don't want to distract his fragile little brain. Are you joking? There's no way. What is he talking about? I don't know, bro. Logan, I have no idea. I have no idea. You didn't want to tell him that his superstar could be traded soon? And to start thinking about how he's going to approach the team after we do this? You didn't want to talk to him about that? I didn't want him to worry his little head. This is insane, bro. To say there is no way of every single one of these questions, there's no way to answer it and it makes sense.
Conversations, most of the stuff never sees the light of day. And so Jason's obligation is to coach the team that he has right there. The last thing
you see how smug that is? You see how arrogant that is? This dude's a dictator. Your job is to coach the team. Good God. You coach the team that I give you. What a horrible... And that's another thing, too. When you hire a coach based on the culture and the type of players that you have, the personnel that you have, because they might very well bring the best out of those players, right? That was why they the Warriors hired Steve Kerr, right? He really helps Steph Curry because he was a shooter. Like, you do things like that. Like, you got to think about those types of things. You can't just change up the entire roster. Well, you can change up some players here and there and not get much of it input from the coach, right? But I think you should always talk to the coach. But you definitely can't get rid of their superstar player without letting them know that this might happen. Wow.
I can do is get him distracted by what could be what.
That's like a very don't step out of line mentality, which is super gross. That's what I'm saying. He's like this dude ego is insane, right? Like, don't be fooled by the shakiness and the putting down my coffee and holding on to the pen and I guess just the way he looks, his face. This dude is horrible. I would not be surprised if this is a horrible person. Seriously. Like, there's a lot of red flags here. This might genuinely be a horrible dude.
But maybe. Jason and I are connected. We have a great relationship. We've had one for 20 years.
Shut up.
And I know how Jason thinks. I know the players that he likes. I know the style.
I know how he thinks. Listen to this language. I know how he thinks. I know the players he likes. He doesn't have to worry about it. I know him better than he knows himself. What kind of abusive relationship is this?
Play that he wants to play, and we're connected.
We have a great relationship. You got a trauma bond relationship, dude. You're crazy.
The Gentry from Texas Metro News. Nico, how personally are you handling all of this? What keeps you in front of everyone? The fans are upset. Almost hate. I have to say the word.
They hate you. They hate you with your... I hate to say this, Nico. This isn't me talking. This is the fans. They hate you with your stupid face and your stupid goatee and your stupid hair and your stupid clothes with your stupid car. They hate everything about it. They hate your family, Nico. They hate everything about you. If you walk in the room, everyone just suffocates because you just take up all the air. You're just disgusting. I hate you is what fans would say. So how do you respond to that, Nico?
How do you deal with that? How are you dealing with that? One, and then two, do you understand how they feel? I think they want to know that you feel.
No, he doesn't. He's an egomaniac. He doesn't understand anything.
Pain about losing Luka. What can you say to them?
He's a sociopath.
Well, when you have 20,000 people in this stadium chanting "Fire Nico," you really feel it. I mean, I use the word awesome, but not in a positive way. Like, you can really feel how.
This dude's ego is so huge that he actually finds glee in being the bad guy. Like, he thinks that he is so smarter than everyone else that he's just sitting back, like, on his throne, like, you'll see. You peasants don't understand. You don't understand basketball the same way Nico understands. You don't understand it the way Nico understands. Insane. I actually love it when they're mad at me.
How they feel. So yes, I feel them. How am I doing? I'm good. You know, I said this last week. God's got me covered.
Wait, did she ask how you were doing? I don't think anyone cared how you were doing. Did she ask that? Is his ego so big that he thinks this is about how he's doing? She said, "Hey, the fans like really hate you, and they're really like beat up about this." What's your response to that? I'm doing okay. It's pretty awesome that they yell at me. They just don't understand, but I'm doing okay. Do the fans understand me, Nico, how hard it is to be me, Nico?
I have amazing family and an amazing support group to get through it. But no, I absolutely feel it. But I'm also, my job is to make decisions that I feel are in the best interest of this organization, and I got to stand by the decision, and some of them are going to be unpopular, and this was clearly one that's unpopular.
This is a stupid decision. That's what it is. Like, everyone can just get the vibe that you do not care, bro. You don't make a decision like that and you care. If for respect for the fans would have been put them on the trade market if you're going to trade them. That's respect. Everyone would have still been pissed off, but like it would have been out of respect,
Nico, you've said over and over about defense wins championships, and you've been here several years with Luka before the trade. I'm wondering and he was pretty much a known product. He was who he was. At what point did you decide that you wanted to try to move him for something different?
Yeah.
Good question. If he says it was the last second, I'm losing it.
There was never, it wasn't the straw that broke the camel's back. When you live with someone for 3 years, you get to know their strengths and weaknesses. It was more about a change in philosophy in terms of how can we get a top defensive team that will help us win a championship. Again, this trade may never even have happened.
A top defensive team that helped us win a championship when you just went to the final. I'm saying the same thing over.
But once the opportunity presented itself, we jumped on it.
So that wasn't something that had built over like 6 months, 8 months, 9 months?
No, not at all.
No, Grant, I said that.
Then what was it? He said when you known someone for 3. And what was it? So he's saying it was a last second decision? Is something that just over time he realized this? I don't. It sounds like he just always wanted to do it. He just don't like Luka.
DallasHoopsJournal.com. Over here. Yeah, right here. The organization had dealt with injuries, long before the trade deadline as well, but it traded a healthy player in Quentin Grimes for an injured player in Caleb Martin, and it had hard capped the team at the first apron with 14 players. Did maybe the organization have any takeaways from that going forward about managing the salary cap in season, when injuries kind of mount and you need to sign a 15th player?
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually a great question. We looked at our managing of the salary cap is maximizing it to its full potential. So Caleb was one of the players that we were able to get that would actually just barely fit under the cap and the apron, excuse me. And so
Sebastian,
we
you are on fire, my guy. He said, you can't build a philosophy with a team of old guys. They're on borrowed time, and that time can't build a culture or a foundation. Exactly. They're older, they got families. They're just trying their best to get as much money out they can out of it. Maybe they ring chase a little bit, but a true culture behind it, no. It usually comes from younger guys building up that culture. You can have a mixture of them, obviously. I think of the San Antonio Spurs in the 90s, right? Like, it wasn't just Duncan who helped create that culture. Him and Popovich created it, but with help of some of the older guys that were on the roster for a very long time. And then just kind of continued from there. But yeah, you're completely right. Like, it takes young guys, right? Even with those older guys on the team, David Robinson was young at some point, right?
We knew what we were giving up. We knew that we were only going to be able to sign one 10-day. But the chances of 10 players out of 18 available players being hurt, we took that risk to get a player of Caleb who we liked forever. And so we did it. And now, to your point, did we learn something? Absolutely. That, there's scenarios where you can have more than 10 players hurt, which doesn't typically happen. And so that will be something that we'll keep in mind as we move forward.
Eddie Sefko, Mavs.com. A couple things, Nico. Along those lines, it was a horrific season for injuries. But what's your confidence level? I mean, these are older players who sometimes tend to get injured more or take longer to heal. Your confidence level that this was an aberration?
Well, one, before the trade, 90% of our injuries were contact injuries. So when you have contact injuries, by and large, those are unavoidable. And so it didn't matter if you were young.
Did you just say contact injuries are unavoidable? I don't know, man. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I mean, I take Wemby, for instance, right? He does a multitude of Pilates, yoga. He's got crazy flexibility. And a lot of his injuries have been avoidable that were contact that could have been contact injuries. Roll his foot off of someone or something like that. Like, yeah, it's unavoidable for the contact, but your body definitely plays a part on whether or not you get injured or not. So what is he talking about? Yeah, and also, yeah, non-contact injuries are avoidable? Is that where his logic is going? What? That doesn't even make sense. Let me tell you something. AD getting hurt, no non-contact, is unavoidable. It's going to happen. I don't wish that on him. It's just going to happen. It happens every year.
Young or old, contact injuries.
Young or
contact
old.
Injuries. So we have a great
What are you
staff.
talking about?
And so I'm extremely optimistic that next year we'll go back to the mean, and you'll see a really good team out there.
Also,
You say we'll go back to the meme? I want to believe that you say we'll go back to the meme.
Also, what thing or maybe things need to happen in your mind primarily to get this franchise back toward contending status and respectability?
Good question. First of all, I need to be fired.
Really, we just need to get healthy. I think the team that we're bringing back is a championship caliber team. And we fully expect to have Kyrie back with us next year.
Man, talking about Kyrie Irving and AD. You know how I know this is a terrible take? It's because Skip Bayless agrees with this. Skip Bayless says that Kyrie and AD would have won a championship. So, like, that's how you know this is bad. If you have any type of basketball opinion, listen to Skip Bayless, right? Like, just listen to him and make sure that you guys do not align.
When he gets healed from his injury, and we believe we'll compete for a championship.
Yeah, you mentioned Kyrie. What's the pathway to either a contract extension? I know he has a player option, obviously a decision to make, but what's your confidence that something beyond that can get done this summer?
Kyrie is a big part of what our future is. And
Kyrie's a big part of our future? Hey, Alexa, how old is Kyrie Irving?
Kyrie Irving is 33 years old and was born on March 23rd, 1992.
Man, 33 years old. In the long scheme of things in life, he's young. In basketball, he ain't part of your future.
That's not going to change.
Oh, is he going to be 34 before the next season? I didn't hear when she said when he was born. I just heard the 92 part. I spaced out. I was looking at chat.
He opts in or opts out.
Rashad Miller, Dallas Weekly. I know in your opening remarks you talked about this offseason, your goals for this offseason. But
Oh, he finally got to drink it.
What you're going to do for the next 2 or 3 seasons?
Yeah, I mean, our core actually is connected for the next 2 or 3 seasons. So I don't see much movement from our core. I really see how you shape around that. And it starts with the draft.
Nick Gang said, Locked On Mavs. You said that Patrick Dumont initially laughed at you when you brought him the Luka trade. What did you say to convince him to approve it?
This is so funny.
It wasn't really it wasn't really a laugh. It was more of a chuckle. But really it was just I'd said it out of the blue. And then as we started talking more, I gave him reasoning behind it. And, you know, we're a very process-oriented organization.
It was a
Everything
chuckle.
we do is without emotion and goes through the lens of process. And so once we had those substantive
It was more of a
discussions,
chuckle.
then he saw the
It wasn't a laugh. It was more of a chuckle, actually. He just said, that's funny, Nico. I feel like a chuckle's like worse. At least if it was a laugh, it's like evil laughter. Like, oh, I agree with you. Woo, ha, 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 right? Like, let's get rid of him. Like, it's laughter. A chuckle is like, man, get out of here with that.
vision.
Hey, Christian Clark again. Do you feel like, just to follow up on Mike's question, do you feel like Kyrie opting in is a possibility?
It's too early to speculate what Kyrie's going to do. But what I do feel is going to happen. He's going to be a Maverick next year.
And then he's going to be out a significant portion of next season. Do you feel like you guys have to do something to address just creation to get
That's fake news. He'll be back beginning of next season.
Through that time, and how do you go about doing that?
The fact that he's even has to clarify. It's so funny.
I feel good. You can't replace Kyrie through free agency. He's too good of a player. We have a really deep.
Wait. What did he say?
I feel good. You can't replace Kyrie through free agency. He's too good of a player.
Okay.
We have a really.
I agree. I think I agree with that. You can't replace Kyrie with free agency. Yeah. I think I agree with that. I thought he was about to say you can't replace Kyrie with the trade. That's why I thought that was going. I was about to lose it, bro.
Deep, versatile bench, and some of those guys will have to create they'll have to create the void. It's going to be by committee. We'll use free agency, and then we'll also use the draft.
Nico, Noah Weber from the Smoking Cuban. One thing you said a few minutes ago is you said, me and Coach Kidd are aligned. You know the player that he likes. But when it comes to a trade of this magnitude, obviously, it's the main player that led y'all to the finals last season. So I wanted to ask you, what did that conversation look like at the 11th hour when you told him that y'all would be trading Luka Doncic?
It looked like I told him, and I said, get back to work, go coach this team. I don't want your input. Talking about we have a good relationship. Good relationships, you actually communicate what you're going to do.
And do you think it was fair to him to have y'all's entire team built around Luka, but then in the middle of the season, him having to pivot to a completely different player to try to...
He gonna fire Jason Kidd. All this sticking up for him. Why aren't you sticking up for me, Nico?
Make the title run again.
Sure, I think there's some difficulties anytime when you do a trade that big during the middle of the season. I mean,
Yeah.
we saw it when
What
we
was that
traded for Kyrie
conversation
a couple
like?
years ago.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes trades take a little longer.
What was that
for you to really
conversation
see,
like?
How good of a trade it was.
What was that conversation
But I
like?
also know his connectivity to Anthony Davis. He won a championship.
What was that
with him with the
conversation
Lakers.
like?
I know his admiration.
What was that
for him as a
conversation like?
defensive
Yeah, you
player.
know a lot about
And
him.
So I wasn't worried about that.
What was that?
What did y'all's conversation look like when you let him know?
Thank you. Oh my God.
It was really brief. I just told him the reasoning behind it and let him know, and he understood, and he got geared up to start whiteboarding to get ready to see how we would play with Anthony Davis.
You know he was pissed off. I just told him what I did. It was brief. That's not a brief conversation. Let me tell you guys a good relationship. Okay, like real talk. I think him just putting his head down and saying, "All right, let's get to work." That doesn't sound like a good conversation. That doesn't sound like a franchise on the same page. That sounds like okay, I'll just do whatever you want. Don't want to get in trouble. Brief? That's crazy. An actual good conversation or actually good relationship would be him flipping out, going off, then fighting for a little while, then talking it out, and then figuring out, okay, all right. After a few days of calming down, all right, let's figure out what I got to do. That would be a good conversation. That's a good relationship. Okay? Think about somebody you care about that would just do something insane. Right? You're going to be mad. It's okay to have an argument. For them to completely disagree with what you did or you disagree with what they did, and then you have you take some time to yourself, come back, talk about it. All right, okay. That's a good relationship. It should not have been brief. This shouldn't have been, I did this, go coach this team. That's not a good relationship. I guarantee you Popovich would be pretty upset if they just traded Wemby right off the bat. That would be a true argument between him and Brian Wright. And then eventually they got to hug. Yeah, eventually you're going to hug it out. Eventually you'll hug it out, right? That's a good relationship. It could hurt the relationship completely. It's going to hurt the relationship regardless. But to say we got a great relationship, yeah, I just told him and it was brief. That's crazy. You're horrible. I think that he just didn't want to fight with you because you're horrible.
I don't think it's about agreeing, but he aligns with how I think in terms of defense wins championship.
Wait. He didn't agree, but he aligns with the way that you think. You just know so much about Jason Kidd. Good guy. You know everything about Jason Kidd. And he said they knew each other. He said 20 years? We've had a relationship for 20 years. Isn't that what he said? This dude's psychotic.
That's how he feels. So he also aligns with the philosophy of versatile style.
For real, bro.
And so it wasn't really about agreeing or disagreeing. It was about
Poor Mavericks fan. Can we just? I probably wouldn't feel this way I wouldn't feel this way if it was Houston. But poor Mavericks fans, man. I feel for y'all, bro. You should become Spurs fans and subscribe to this channel.
Yeah, let's go.
And the defense has been one thing that's been talked about so many times when you're referring to this trade. With you trading Luka, in a way you're betting on Anthony Davis to help you guys, but it's also you thinking maybe Luka would help, or that AD would help more than Doncic did. Outside of defense, why are you betting against Luka Doncic not being able to bring y'all a title this year?
Yeah, it's more about AD than I'm not going to bet against Luka or speak negatively towards him. He's not here anymore, but it's the belief that I have in the guys that are in this locker room.
You believe in AD more than Luka Doncic, guys. Could you imagine? Could you imagine anybody just go, like I don't even think you could find a barber. You go to a barbershop, guys. Let me tell you something, okay? If you've been to a barbershop, they have some of the worst NBA takes imaginable, okay? You're not hearing any. You heard some bad stuff on First Take. It gets way worse in a barbershop, okay? I wouldn't hear one barber. There's no way I would hear one barber or one a customer come in and when they're talking about basketball say, Luka ain't that good. Then maybe they'll say that Luka ain't that good, but they definitely aren't going to follow up with, I'd rather have Anthony Davis. No one's going to do that. The worst NBA takes you ever heard of, they would not say that.
Nico, Russell Scott, News Radio 1080 KRLD. Did you say you did not foresee the fan reaction
There's no coffee in that.
with the trade? And what would going public with the trade have done? I don't quite understand.
Exactly.
What would have happened if you would have gone public?
No, I said I did see the outrage, just maybe not to the degree of with that it actually ended up being.
Oh my God, bro. This man has murals, by the way. You guys know that, right? Luka Doncic has murals, and you didn't expect an outrage? What a stupid.
But I also think part of that is because we weren't able to put a team on the floor that was, day in and day out winning. I think if we would have put the team that we intended to put on the floor, I think that would have quieted some of the outrage.
That's not true, bro.
Nico, Brad Townsend, Dallas Morning News again. This kind of piggyback off my
He didn't answer the question, by the way.
first question. So during the Western Conference Finals run 3 years ago, and then also during the Finals run, you weren't really out in front of cameras. You were really letting the players and the coaches take the credit. But I wonder if this year has been a lesson to you in terms of, as you put it, being a public face of the franchise, in terms of standing up during times of crisis, and because it feels like this franchise was in crisis.
He gonna love this, bro.
These last couple of months.
Oh, he gonna love this. He's like, yeah, I put my cape on. I am God to Dallas.
Yeah, it's we always at the end of the year we evaluate everything and what we could have done better. And
Sebastian said, I've been living in Dallas this past year. Ain't no way you didn't expect that. Exactly, bro. That's crazy. That's insane. I live nowhere near Texas, and I know. Come on.
Clearly, we could have done a better job with that, and we take that and we own it, and you'll see us be better going forward.
Nico, back here. Sam Gannon, Fox 4. Luka recently did a sit-down with ESPN's Malika Andrews, and he was asked about a question that was posed to you last week about whether or not you believe that you could contend for championships with Luka at the centerpiece. You said defense wins championships. Luka was quoted as saying, it's just sad the way he's talking right now. I never say anything bad about him, and I just want to move on. How do you react to that quote?
Oh, my. Dude, guys, they are eating. As the kids would say, they are eating, guys. Maybe you should go to a barbershop in France. What, they have better takes? Dude, they are eating, bro. They are eating this guy alive. This is crazy. I could not imagine. I can't imagine how hot that seat is right now. It's over 200 degrees.
I feel the same way he does.
Yeah, ain't it? This is like Meet the Grams, but for Nico, yeah.
Like, I've actually never spoken ill of Luka at all, and I just ready to move on with this team that we have.
With that?
Yeah.
Dude, they said, do you think Luka could have won a championship? It's like there's no way around that. Because you can't say... Because what I think it is I think it's this guy's ego. I think that he didn't really like Luka. I think that he wants his name out there. He wants to get credit for putting a team together, right? Because Luka just... The narrative is Luka just puts together. I mean, not Luka just puts together. Luka, carried his team last season or whatnot. And he's like, no, I'm great. I'm going to trade Luka. And then also maybe also a mixture of don't want to give him a supermax. And if they don't want to give him the supermax, then you just need a team good enough to win a championship rather than the dynasty that they could have had.
Fun.
What do you ask?
You having fun?
You having fun? Ooh, my goodness.
There's been...
Ooh, that was chilling. That was like Popovich. Are we having fun yet? That was chilling, bro. You having fun?
There's been quite a bit of speculation that one of the reasons that you made the trade was that you guys just couldn't get along in terms of he saw things and his team saw things that he's going to do it this way and you wanted him to do it that way. True or not?
No, I worked at Nike for 20 years, and there's like superstars. They have teams around them, and you have to cater to them, and that's part of the job, and they've earned it. So I don't worry about getting along with people. I can work with anybody.
Then the other observation is not necessarily that you made a big trade, but what you got in return. What did you feel like prevented you, and maybe that's the wrong word, from getting more in return when we've seen other NBA trades The one that stands to mind is Rudy Gobert. What Minnesota gave up to
Oh
acquire
my
him that you couldn't
goodness.
necessarily get more from Los.
Hey, bring up the Spurs too, bro. We got 4 first-round picks for DeJounte Murray, an all-star reserve. DeJounte Murray.
Los Angeles than three assets.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, and I said this last week, if you don't value AD as an all NBA player.
Oh no, you are not gonna put it on us. You're not gonna act like we're all crazy.
And an all defensive player, then you're not gonna like the trade. We targeted AD, but if you don't like him, then there's nothing else we get that's gonna make you excited about the trade. And
If you don't like him, victim blaming. Yeah, bro, he's blaming the victims right now. This is crazy. If you don't like him, is something wrong with you? Are you serious? It's not that people don't like Anthony Davis. It's just the reality that he's never played. I'm gonna look this up. Oh, actually, I don't have to pull this off. I can just pull it up over here.
Value him.
Right, just 2 more questions.
Dylan Reed, Ticket in Dallas. Are you worried that the Luka trade is going to hurt you guys in free agent negotiation moving forward? You know, it feels as though, and at least he's highlighted as much, that he feels as though maybe it really was done behind his back. Are you worried that moving forward, other players that come here might think, well, if I go there, what if they trade me without knowing? Is that a concern you guys have?
Not at all. When I first got this job here, I was told that the Dallas Mavericks, struggled to get free agents, and one of the things I said is we're going to get free agents. And it's not just about me, but you have Hall of Famer Jason Kidd. You have a bunch of amazing players that, Kyrie Irving, like people want to play with him. So I think we have a lot that's in our favor. So I don't worry about getting free agents.
If you don't like him, bro, that's your problem. All right, rookie season. Let's see, he had a concussion, left ankle sprain, left shoulder, MCL sprain. Next season, he had a fractured left hand. We'll just do like the first injury that he had each season. Next season, sprained toe. Next season, back injury. Next season, groin strain. Next season, sprained left index finger. Next season, a sacral contusion. Next season, calf strain and Achilles tendonitis or tendinosis. Okay. Next season, knee soreness. Next season, played through a tight lower back. And then obviously we know about this season. Adductor strain, foot injury. But each season there's been something. There's been something each season. Basically every season there's been some issue.
That's the least of my concerns.
Rashad Miller again. I know you talked about, staying optimistic and things like that. But what are some of the worst case scenarios? Like if you can't acquire the assets.
Oh, that's the same guy. That's the same guy from earlier.
To build a winning team.
Yeah, but what if that's not true? Like what if that doesn't happen? Then what?
I think we have the assets already. It's just building around them.
Yeah, but what if
so
it doesn't
I don't-
happen?
I'm sorry, but I'm not capable of looking at the worst case scenario.
Oh my God, that's a horrible. Guys, by the way, that's a horrible quality of a GM. All right, that's a horrible. Yeah, that's horrible. That you can't look at the worst case scenario as well. You got to look at all aspects. If you're only optimistic towards AD, you're gonna get screwed over, bro. If you were a little bit more skeptical, maybe you would have got more out of the trade. That's crazy. I can't look at things negatively. That's not a good thing, bro.
Everything about what we do is about how do we continue to get better. We're coming back already with what we feel is a championship caliber team. So now we'll use the draft, we'll use free agency to add to that.
Thank you.
Expecting AD to be able to carry your team to a championship is like a huge mistake. All right, well, that was interesting. I bet that there's plenty. Oh, as we can see, the like-dislike ratio is incredible. Why shouldn't you be fired? My favorite question out of this press conference. He didn't know how important Luka was to the fans. Let's see. Thanks for your genuine, honest answers. Fire Nico. Hate seeing his face. Just fire him. The situation with fans is unfixable. That's what I was saying. Like, even if they were to win a championship, the fans aren't going to be. It's always going to be like this because it's going to be short term. we're already ready for the next thing, right? All of our championships as Spurs fans, I love it. Like, I loved them. I had a lot of time. But every year I was thinking, oh, we can win a championship. Hey, let's try to win a championship. Hey, let's try to win a championship. That's why we stayed happy, right? If it had been, look how Spurs fans are right now, right? It's been over a decade, and now people are starting to get a little, antsy, right? But if we would have won in 99 and didn't win in 03 or 05 or 07, I mean, we would be pretty, on edge. Like, you win a championship. What's going on? But it's the continuous winning, the dynasty, that keeps fans happy. Fans aren't going to be happy unless you're one of those franchises that don't win at all, right? But Dallas Mavericks have won a championship before, not that long ago. I mean, a lot of these fans still were obviously alive for it. Like, it wasn't that long ago. So, yeah. Anyways. Oh, when's the lottery? May 12th? Oh, somebody answered it. Yeah, May 12th. Let's scroll down. NBA draft, June 26th. Okay. Anyways, that's going to be a long segment. We're going to post it, though. That's crazy. What an insane thing. All right, so speaking of insane thing, this is the last thing I wanted to go over. All right, chat. Speaking of things that are insane, I wanted to show you this. This is pretty wild. So apparently, our boy DeMar DeRozan was caught on camera from TMZ fighting someone. So right off the bat, okay, we should never, let me say this, we should never victim blame, okay? We should never victim blame, all right? As you guys know, there's been many situations come up. We talk about everything when it pertains to the Spurs and certain situations just in basketball in general that might affect the Spurs in some way, form or fashion. And sometimes there's incidents where there's a victim involved and there's a perpetrator, right? And I never victim blame, ever. Never, ever, 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 okay? But I'm just going to make an inference based on this, okay? I have not watched this video. I was kind of waiting with you guys. But it says witnesses say DeRozan knocked the phone away, a brawl broke out, and the man ended up in the ambulance. So I've seen DeMar DeRozan with the San Antonio Spurs. I paid attention, to stuff off the court, on the court. Obviously, we don't know these players 100%. But for DeRozan to end up in an altercation, I like to believe that this is not his fault. I just want to say that. Because for him to be in an altercation, that's pretty wild. He's a pretty chill person. Doesn't seem to get easily flustered. So yeah, but it says DeRozan reportedly got into a fight at a sushi spot after a man shoved a phone with a bright light in his face. Okay, we need more context than just that, but let's see here. Oh, there's no sound? Oh, there's no sound. Okay. I could have sworn we were going to have sound. All right, let's see. What? Wait, the chick got the phone. The lady got the phone, right? What? Okay. So that's... Is that the... Okay, that's DeRozan. Because DeRozan just... Yeah, that's DeRozan. He got a do-rag on. That's DeRozan. He got a do-rag on. That's DeRozan. All right, so it seems like that guy's really upset. I am so confused. So what's... All right, so... Okay, so DeRozan had him on the ground. Dang. What was DeRozan doing to him? Dude, DeRozan was... Oh, my God. What was he doing to him? He was tying him up like cattle. They're trying to get him to stop because he want to fight. He like, dang. And DeRozan pops him. Is there any more context from what happened here, guys? They said this is a sushi spot. This looks like a hotel, no? Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess it is a sushi spot. It looks kind of like a hotel lobby. All right, I'm trying to let's see if there's any more context here. DeMar DeRozan, TMZ. Oh, wait a minute, guys. Hold on. I think there is sound. Okay, I had it. I don't know why I had Twitter. Okay, here we go. Yeah, somebody's saying let him go, D. So that's DeRozan. He's screaming out, "I'm a big fan. You my hero." What? He's complimenting him the whole time. This is creepy, bro. I think dude might be a little obsessed with him. I think the guy might be a little obsessed with him. Is this like a weird parasocial relationship thing going on? Oh gosh. The TMC website isn't coming up. Yeah, it is. Looks like the NBA DeRozan got more than he ordered as sushi. Yeah, stop with the jokes. Check it out. He's clearly pissed off as he gets physical with another male who's lying on the ground with his legs sticking straight up in the air. The fight looks pretty serious. Sacramento Kings small forward is going after the man, but is held off by another person in a suit. Once the other party is back on his feet, he demands his phone be handed over, which seems to infuriate DeMar, who lunges at him. A woman in a gray sweatsuit pleads with the pro athlete to let the man go, saying he's not worth it. Though the video ends there, the situation persisted. Police confirmed to TMZ they responded to an incident involving DeMar around 10:30 Friday evening. Okay, investigation is open. An eyewitness tells TMZ the altercation blew up after the man in the shorts shoved a phone with a bright light into DeMar's face, which the basketball player then knocked out of his hand. It seems like the guy he instigated a little bit. Maybe instigate isn't the word I'm looking for, but it seemed like he wanted an altercation to happen. Maybe some weird parasocial relationship he has with DeMar. Let the man eat in peace. These out of shape civilians start mess with pro athletes, and then are quick to sue them when they get dealt with. I have no clue. Very strange, but it does seem like he wanted the altercation. I'm sure we'll hear more out of this, but this is my bias, right? I don't know the guy. It just seems a little weird, some of the things he's screaming out. But knowing DeMar, or at least as much as we've seen of him, I feel like this isn't his fault, right? The real crime here is sushi. Hey, sushi's good. Sounds like a mid-anime fight dialogue. You're my hero. Yeah, you're my hero. Hey, he's an anti-hero. Yeah. Anyways, good stuff. Well, I mean, not good stuff, but, you know, we always say that. Interesting stuff. My man DeRozan is from the hood. Don't mess with him. Yeah, he's from Compton. No, you can't just shove. Squabble up for real? Yeah, squabble up. Squabble up. Yeah, you can't just put a phone in someone's face. Like, that's not cool. Don't know if that would be considered self-defense, though. So he could very well get sued for this. We'll see. All right, guys. I am hopping off. Good stuff, great stuff. Yeah, I do that all the time. All right, I'm hopping off. This was fun. I guess I'll post what should we post first? I'll just post the what was the first thing we talked about? The Atlanta Hawks news. We'll talk this. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. I'll post that, and then we'll just do it in order of how this live stream went. But I'll get with you guys later. Everybody, take care. Bye.